Hey everyone, today I'm coming to you with a review on the brand new Marvel Legends X-Men Retro Carded Deluxe Apocalypse. Now, this is kind of coming out to coincide with the brand new Retro Wave 2 of X-Men. I have all of those. I just got them yesterday, and I will have a review of them coming out this week. And I had this guy for about 3 weeks now, so I've been kind of just procrastinating on doing him. I've had other figures, and I just thought, I don't know if you guys really want to see this, but ever since I got those figures yesterday, I have not stopped thinking about this Apocalypse, because now I'm in this X-Men mood, and I thought, you know what, why not? Let me get this video out first before I do that wave, and just, you know, get it done, because I do think this is a very cool figure that I do have a decent amount to say about, and I think you guys should really see how cool this piece is, because I do think it is awesome. But without further ado, let's get into the brand new Retro X-Men Carded Deluxe, yada yada yada, Marvel Legends, I said that already, Apocalypse. So besides the Apocalypse figure and his numerous accessories being 3 blast effects, 1 deluxe one and 2 small ones, you don't get any in between. You get a set of fists, and you get a alternate head, which is kind of just a flat expression compared to the angry one. And lastly, you do get this awesome kind of blast that can go onto his arm, which I do really like this effect. But before we get into all of this, I do want to quickly go over the box here, which is just massive. This is the deluxe retro card, so this isn't your normal size one. This is the same one they used with figures such as Rhino and not Juggernaut. Oh, they should do a Juggernaut on a retro card. That would be really cool. But the Kingpin is what I meant to say. There you can see how they always say something really cool about the figure or something that comes with it. And this is just Ancient Evil. You get Ancient Evil included with this figure, and indeed you do. Marvel's Apocalypse. I really do like these retro cards. If I had all the money in the world, I would be probably getting one to open and one to keep sealed, because I love all the retro card stuff Marvel puts out. But if I'm being honest, I probably wouldn't do X-Men. I'd probably do the Spider-Man ones, because I'm more of a Spider-Man guy myself. But there you can see the price on this figure, which he came out to be about $49, because I do have a additional discount at GameStop, because I have the Onyx discount, the Onyx card. A little bit of flex there, but for around $48 to $50, let's just say $50 to $55, because that'll be the general price. It's not a bad deal. Like, this is a big figure, and that's the kind of price, $49 to $55, that kind of seems like a maybe 2 to 3 years ago price. So I'm definitely a fan of the price of that, and without even going into the figure yet, I can already say that it's worth it, especially in these times with figures just going through the roof. Retro carded, or not retro carded, a credit collection Ahsoka is more expensive than this guy, which is kind of just odd, a dystopian future that we're living in. But regardless, let's get into the figure. Now, first off, I do want to go over his accessories more in depth. So there you can see his first head sculpt, which, let's kind of lower it. That is an amazing head sculpt. Now, this is our 3rd Apocalypse that we are getting from modern day Marvel Legends by Hasbro. We got the Age of Apocalypse comic run deluxe version that came out, I believe, in 2020. And we also got the Build-A-Figure version, which came out in 2018. That was the first one. Now, I do have to say, of all 3, I do have the other 2, and I'll compare them to him at the end. I do have to say this is my favorite by far, but before we do that, just look at these head sculpts. They look awesome. I think those are our best Apocalypse head sculpts. They are photoreal. They are looking great. I do like this one more because, you know, that's more Apocalypse to me, just intimidating and whatnot. And this is actually a good segue, because this fell off, but these are his wires, his signature Apocalypse wires that go around, so they do plug into the back, and the shape of them is kind of already predetermined, so you can tell by when you take it out of the box that this is how it goes. I believe it came in the box with them separately. Yes, it did. So they go in like so. And to include this, which is another great segue. Wow, I'm just on it today, guys. You can take this wrist part off, and you can actually plug in. It is using the same joint as just a normal hand, so you can just plug that in to either side, right or left, doesn't matter, and you can just port the plug in there, and then he has his blaster, which is very cool. That is definitely a different effect than the claw that we got with the Archangel figure. And then you can just put these effects on. I do like the red that they went with, these little tiny ones. For the longest time, I thought, did I lose one of these effects? Because there's another hole, but no, he is only included with the 3 of these. I watched Dan Hu's review. Shout out, love Dan Hu. Go check him out. I watched his review, and sure enough, he was only included with the 3, which is more than enough. And if we had another one of this, it wouldn't really work. You can technically take this big explosive effect on the bottom off, but even with that off, I feel like that would be difficult to have the other half of it on. But that looks awesome, and that is a great selling point on this figure already. But other than that, for the rest of his accessories, it's just the set of fists and the open hands. And I do really like the sculpt that they went with here. They are the same. Yep, they are the same as the previous versions. I'll show those in the comparisons closer. But before we get into the articulation and whatnot, I just want to go over the basis of this figure. Now, it is majority reuse. However, there is a decent amount of new stuff here. This whole torso is brand new, all new sculpt, which is great to get. And this is kind of going for the animated look, which is a great time to be released for this figure because we just completed with that Cyclops figure the VHS line that Hasbro did, and I just started watching the animated series, and I'm really about to buy, probably I'm gonna buy that whole thing eventually, which Hasbro, you always do it, but you know what, it's my fault. But yeah, I think that is essentially all I have to say. Just take this in. I love the color scheme they went with. It's very, very different from the other Apocalypses, but it also is fairly similar with, you know, the design aspect that isn't color related. And there you can see the boots, which look awesome, very futuristic, even though this guy is hella old. Very, very jacked biceps there with huge veins. Are those the same? Oh, what? What the heck? Okay, I know I should be waiting for comparisons, but I kind of just noticed something here. I don't know if this is intentional or this is an error that I'm just noticing live on camera. But here, they are the same arms, and, you know, I didn't think that at first because you can see that, but they're swapped around. This either should be on the other side or these should be on the other side. I feel like these should be on the inside, if anything, because this looks more normal, but yeah, that's definitely odd. I don't know if that's intentional. This is an older figure now, but let me know if that was the same on your figures. I just noticed that. Interesting. They swapped it around. I think, yeah, this is the wrong way because those aren't supposed to be showing on the outside unless you're doing some Minecraft potions, if you know what I mean. But other than that, I think that's all I have to say about this Apocalypse figure. So I guess let's just get into his articulation. Now, the articulation on Apocalypse is pretty good, but it was expected. There isn't anything new or crazy here, but the head does go up that much. You can't remove this. I mean, you could technically if you wanted to damage your figure, but that is glued or molded onto there, so that ain't going anywhere like the other ones did. The head goes up that much, down that much, which is always very funny to me. It looks like he's just wearing a mask or something. And then there is a very small bit of tilt, but it does go full 360 on paper. And then the arms do go out that much. These shoulder pads are attached to the torso here, so they're not moving with it at all, but they don't really get in the way, and they are a pliable material, so even when you do move the arms, they won't hinder it at all. So up, down, and full 360, but this does actually kind of get in the way. You get what I mean, though. You can hypothetically do it. Bicep swivel, single jointed elbows, which go in way less than 90, which is a little bit of a bummer, but you know what? This figure is still pretty badass, so it doesn't really bother me, and that's the same exact thing that was on the other figure, so nothing new there. And then the hands are on horizontal hinges for both pairs, the fists and the open hand, so up, down, full 360. The blaster arm cannon, it's just a peg with no joint in it, so that just plugs in. There's no point in going over that. The ab crunch goes down that much. Back, looking good. Full waist swivel going 360. Legs kick up that much. Back splits, upper thigh cut, which you can remove because it is technically a Build-A-Figure. Double jointed knees, and the ankles are actually a little bit difficult here to maneuver, but they do kind of go up that much and down. Oh god, I hate this. One day I'm going to film this and one of my figures is going to break, just like my Iron Man just did off camera. That was very, very sad times. And ankle rocker pivot, but it also does move. So that is awesome. And yes, I did break my new retro arm cannon Iron Man when I opened him. Very, very sad, but I'm probably just going to go buy a replacement and sell off the cannon and whatnot, but that is neither here nor there. So let's get into his comparisons. So here we have the brand new retro Apocalypse next to the previous Apocalypses. We have the Build-A-Figure version, and we have the deluxe version from Age of Apocalypse and from 2020, which technically was the Age of Apocalypse, so a very fitting time for him to be released. But here you can see the arm grabbing or gripping hand, whatever the claw he's included with, which was very cool. Now you can take this off and you can put this on, which I think that might be what I do. Just have one Apocalypse here, because I do have 3. Have one with both kind of effects, just to have him look like he's using his powers, and then these can go on separate shelves, which he already is. He's on the Age of Apocalypse shelf, and then I think at this point I'm going to just do a animated shelf, and I'll put him on it. But these all have uses. Now, I do have to say, if you do have these previous versions, or you have one or the other, and if you're content with those, I don't necessarily think you need this, but I do think this is the best of the 3. Certainly, there is the Toy Biz version, which is, like, just huge, and that would always be great to get. Maybe a HasLab down the line. I'm in no rush to get that because I have these, and I'm content with these because Apocalypse can change sizes, you know? But you get my point. It's, you know, it's kind of up to your preference if this is the kind of storyline you like Apocalypse from, or if you like a more modern and more, you know, shiny design, then go for the Build-A-Figure, even though he is harder to find. This guy's still pretty easy to find. But this one, I do think, is the best version if you don't have it. And here we have a couple more recent villains next to the new retro Apocalypse figure. We have the brand new Spiral, which I will have a review coming up very, very soon. That is like a insanely perfect figure. Perfect is an understatement. And then we also have him next to the Mojo, of course. Here we have the Apocalypse, who is in a kind of animated color scheme next to the animated VHS Retro Jubilee and the animated looking Beast and Cyclops from the Love Triangle set and the just standard release that just came out recently. But these all look very good together. I just got heard today. I think I'm going to get the rest. I can't believe Hasbro does this to me. I do it to myself, but you know, they're just so cool and they look so good together, especially with the Apocalypse. And I'm watching the show right now. I don't know. I think it's the perfect time. But anyway, that is him next to some X-Men. And then lastly, for the comparisons, I have the Psylocke figure and the Archangel figure. These look very, very good with the Apocalypse. But now it is time for my final thoughts. So overall, this is a very interesting figure to me. I think this is something that, now that I have it, I think we did need. But at the same time, we weren't in a huge rush to get another Apocalypse since we just got one, what was it, like 2 years ago? And then 2 years before that. So we've had a decent amount of Apocalypses in the distant past, but now we get this one, and I have to say I am very, very happy with it, even though I do have those other versions. I think this one is exactly what I was looking for in an Apocalypse figure. Obviously, I'm not going to get my super tall, massive Apocalypse, maybe down the line, but for now, I think this is the best Apocalypse that they have put out in this scale. And if you don't have any of those other versions, or if you just like this design, I don't think you will be disappointed by it at all, especially at that price point. But other than that, I think I'm going to have to give this figure a 8 out of 10. I think they did I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a great deal, great figure. The only downside is just an odd time to release an Apocalypse, in my opinion. I feel like maybe next year just seems a little too soon, but other than that, it's an amazing figure. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to let me know what you think of this figure in the comments below. Are you going to pick it up? Have you picked it up? Or is it absolute dog water? But until my next video, thank you guys so much for watching. We are so close to 1,000 subs. It is not even funny. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.